Hi, welcome. I'm Tara Davis. I wanted to bring you fully into the weekend. We have talked about the last couple of weeks about self-care. And so I wanted to take you into the weekend with a little piece that you can take forward with you. So the last couple of clients I have had, including myself, hey Jackie, have had I don't want to say trouble, but have had concerns about speaking up for themselves, about claiming what they need, claiming what they want. For a lot of us, it's a challenge for speaking up for ourselves or saying what we need to say in a situation where we don't know what's going to happen. So here's a lot of the things why, a lot of reasons why we might not speak up for what we want to say or speak up so that our voice is heard. So let's take an example. So for an example, you're at a job and you really enjoy Brenda at work. Or excuse me, you really enjoy Brenda outside of work. But Brenda at work is a totally different person. She kind of overminds what you're doing. She kind of second guesses what you're doing. Maybe she micromanages what you're doing. You're not quite sure how to address this. So here's a couple of things that come into play when we aren't sure how to bring this up. We don't want confrontation. I mean, I know that we all have said at some point or another, I'm just not one who likes to have confrontation. I avoid confrontation like the plague. So I know you can probably relate to this or know someone who has said this to you. So here's what plays into that. First of all, we have no idea what or how that person is going to relate to us, right? Like when we are going to say, Brenda, I love you as a person. Here's what I'm having some trouble with is that when we're at work and then you lay it out, you lay it out to what's going on with Brenda and you. You have no idea what Brenda is going to give back to you. She could go so many different directions, right? She could go, oh, thanks for bringing that to me. Or conversely, she could say, ah, and bring it all back to you. In order for us to be secure in speaking our truth and in speaking up for ourselves, we actually have to be safe and secure within ourselves to know we can handle what's going to be given back to us. So most of the time when, hey Cindy, when we are not comfortable with speaking up for ourselves or having a confrontation, when we use those words, I am just not a person for confrontation, that's usually what is underlying, is that we don't know what's going to come back. And in that, we don't know how to respond. Like we're not secure enough in that place that we know ourselves to know how to respond back. Because a lot of times things can go, conversations can go so many different directions, right? We're all so individual. Thank you for those love notes. Seriously, love them. Thank you. When we all have those situations that we have to speak up, it can go, oh yeah, so many different directions because we're all so individual. And so we have no idea what the other person is dealing with in their life or has dealt with in their childhood or has dealt with in other relationships that is bringing the snarkiness that we think is snarky to this situation. Truth bomb, Cindy. I love that. Because it is a truth bomb, right? Like we aren't sure, even if it's a conscious thing that we know within ourselves, I don't know how to handle these situations. Or maybe we're just at the place where I just don't like conversation or confrontation. I don't know why, I just don't like it. It's because our subconscious is trying to protect us because we're not in that place of a secure foundation where we know, we don't even know what's coming, but we know so much about ourselves that we feel secure in not taking on that other person's stuff, first of all, and not creating more of an argument, Because whatever that person is going to deliver us, it's really all about themselves, right? And actually, the bigger picture of the confrontation is probably projecting something that's a mirror for us. So I'm really getting deep now. So we've taken this from confrontation to what's going on with us. So first of all, this was a great conversation that I had this morning. When there is an issue or a situation that you think, oh my God, I'm just not even good at confrontation. I don't know how to address this. I've got a knot in my stomach. There's a pit in my stomach. First of all, I invite you to really check deep. Because with my client this morning, we were talking about a specific instance at work with a coworker with her. She didn't know how to, thank you, darling, for those love bombs. She didn't know how to address this particular situation and to address this person. She said, I really enjoy her out of work. When we are at work, here's what her behavior looks like. And I say behavior because this is how she's behaving, right? So this is how she's behaving. This is what she's doing. I don't know how to talk to her about this. Like, I don't like what's going on, but I don't know how to talk to her about this. And I've just never been a person for confrontation. So the more that we talked about her coworkers' attitude and behavior and what was coming in, I invited my client to just start to talk about this other person's behavior. Like, just get into it. What is it that you don't like? What is it that's going on? And we both together realized, I said, there it is. There is that piece of projection, of mirror. And as soon as I said it, she could see that there was a piece within her coworker that she was still hanging on to within her that was a full-on mirror for her. So 9.9 times out of 10, whoever that person is that you don't want to have a confrontation with, that you don't want to speak up to or out or against, actually there's a little piece of you that they are probably triggering, that they're using that mirror. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an issue with you. It wouldn't be anything up for you. So first, before you become confrontational or even one that speaks up for yourself, I really invite you, hey Diana, I really invite you to check in and see where this person is triggering you. Because as much as we don't want to say there is nothing that this person has in common with me, I am nothing like this person, there might be some judgment. And for my client, her judgment was, and I gave her that space. I allowed her to say to herself, perhaps I feel better than her, because don't we all, at some point, our ego comes in and says, well, I know so much more than that person, or I have been so better trained than that person. I'm not even sure why she gets away with this. I do it better. So I gave her that permission to go within and find that place where it was triggering her, where she thought those thoughts. I said, look within and see, where is that place for you that, hey Sue, that you think, I am just a little bit better that person because I've been trained more, I've gone to school more, I have more life experience. We could go on with all these different experiences as to why I might be a little bit better than you. So as soon as she started talking, that's exactly where that piece came from for her, was that she immediately, not even immediately, because it took us a little bit, as soon as she saw that piece of, oh my God, there it is. I do think I am a little bit better than her because I've had this training. I have, even though I'm younger than her, I do have more experience and I just catch on quicker. So in fact, she was able to say, and I've been judging her because she doesn't do it this way. And so she was able to see that bigger picture and have some compassion for herself and have some compassion for her coworker. So she's also going to, thank you, Sue. So she's also going to talk with her boss because this other coworker is just an equal. They were hired together at the same time. So one is not over the other. And so she wanted to know how to bring this to her boss. So let me give you a few keywords because these are so important when we have a situation that we need to address with anyone, with your spouse or partner, with your children. We don't want to make it about the other person, right? Because as soon as we start finger pointing and blaming, that blame game and finger pointing, 100% every single time we'll put the other person on the defense. By and large, you won't get very far. And if you do, it's going to take you a little bit extra and some more digging and clawing because you put the person on the defense. And you've made them wrong, when in fact, no one is wrong. We are neither right nor wrong. We are just having different experiences at the same time. So to go to her boss, she wanted to make sure that she had the right words because she didn't want to make her coworker wrong. She just wanted to know, how can we deal with this? So the words that I gave her in a roundabout way that I can remember were, I really like, and we're using the name Brenda, not even the name. So we're using, I really liked Brenda. So she's going again to her boss. I really like Brenda outside of work. Like, she's a really great person. Inside of work, there are some challenges that I'm having with her working. Here are a couple of challenges. How can we make this better so that the two of us can work together? Or I would love your help and your insight on how I can shift this for me so that Brenda and I have a better working relationship. I mean, does that flow with you? Does that make sense to you? It offers the opportunity for you to bring it all home to you, for you to make it about you. There was no finger pointing or blame game or any of that in the situation. Plus, you've brought your boss, your partner, whomever it is that you're bringing into the situation, as a comrade, as someone who is there to help you, because that's what we are here to do as teachers, right? We're here to teach our children, to help other coworkers, to teach those around us who come to us and ask, how do I do this? How do I make this better? None of us are here to make each other right or wrong. We are all here to lift each other up. Thank you, guys. And we are all having an experience. Let's just remember that piece. That is always so helpful for me when I get into a tight situation and my ego wants to come in and make someone else wrong. I recognize that now, which years and years ago, I didn't recognize that. I just wanted to make sure that the other person knew how wrong they were. Now I recognize that it doesn't mean that those thoughts aren't going away, but I know what to do with those thoughts. I can revamp my thought process and realize that this other person is just experiencing this situation from all of that person's life experience. Like, whatever they're bringing to the table, snarky, positive, whatever it looks like for them, they are bringing all of their life experience, good, bad, and ugly, to this very moment. And that is how they are reacting. So they are reacting to the situation with all of their life experience. I know that we talk about our parents a lot and my parents did the best they could with what they had. That is the truest statement ever for any one of us in any given moment. We are all doing the best that we know how in any given situation. And I know that there's just the moments that we are just struggling, and even then when we're struggling, we're still giving it our best. Or when we're exhausted and don't know what else to do, that is our best in that moment. One of my coaches really sent this home for me, that even in your crappiest, shittiest moment that you think, I am the worst person on the planet, you are literally giving your best at that moment, because 10% is maybe all you can give right now. And so back to our original discussion on not being a person who likes confrontation, avoiding confrontation like the plague, I invite you to really look in and see why is it that you avoid confrontation? So all the different ways that we talked about, and if you missed the first part of this, I really invite you to go back and listen to it because there's some key pieces. Also, within us, on a deep level, we have these silent beliefs that maybe we're not lovable because of our childhood. Maybe things in our childhood gave us that subliminal message that we're not lovable, we're not valuable, what we have to offer is not important. And so we bring those subconscious beliefs with us to the table wherever we are. And so I was chatting with my client this morning, and we were talking about her coworker of maybe she doesn't feel worthy. And then my coworker really allowed herself to go, or my client allowed herself to go deep within as well. And she said, I think that piece really rings true for me. Maybe I'm not speaking up because I don't feel worthy or I don't feel lovable. And so we went into that really deep with her. So I wanted to chat with this topic, because for the last 2 weeks, I've been talking about self-care and all the different dimensions of what self-care can look like. This is such a key component of self-care, is speaking up for yourself, right? Who else is going to take care of us but us, truly? We know exactly what we need, what we want, what we desire, what we don't want, what makes us nervous, what makes us anxious. We are our best advocate for self-care. So I wanted you to have this little piece for the weekend about using confrontation actually as a gift. Because I told my client, so look at this situation with your coworker, not as you're butting heads or, oh my God, I've got to learn how to have a confrontation, but look at it from that space of a gift. I said, what a gift she has given you, because look at everything that you have just gleaned from this moment of thinking that your coworker was bad, but actually she's given you such an amazing gift for you to use your voice, for you to tap in and figure out why you think you don't like confrontation, for you to find that piece of you that feels unlovable and heal these pieces. We did so much deep healing work today with my clients. So that's why I wanted to get on, because this is such a key piece and a key component in self-care. Happy Friday, my friends. And so last thing, I would love to read your comments on how you address confrontation. Where is it that you come from a place of compassion for the person that you are confronting? And how do you take care of yourself when you have to have that conversation of confrontation? Like, where do you get quiet within? Are you super gentle with yourself? Do you allow yourself to listen in the moment? Oh yeah, here's another one. One more thing. When you're in the moment with that person and in that confrontation, do you allow yourself to just listen? Or are you already preparing your defense? That's a big key thing. I used to be continually on the defensive, preparing my defense for what my husband was saying. Now I have learned that it's way better for me, for him, and for us if I just listen. And I've learned that the listening piece, because I'm now really solid within myself, that I want to bring to the table. So this isn't working with me. I really want to chat with you about it. How can we make this work together? And then I listen to what he has to say. That old me from like 10 years ago, way more, 15 years ago, would have been presenting my defense and then preparing my rebuttal. I was kind of listening to what he had to say, but not really. So I invite you to listen. And in the place where you're having that discussion with each other, it's totally 100% okay and encouraged to pause after you've spoken or after the other person has spoken without immediately offering a response. Did you see that little space I had? I mean, maybe, what was that? 1 second? A second and a half? There it was again. Like that was probably 2 seconds because I took a breath. Let it process what the other person said, or take a breath before you speak. Think about what that person said. Let it process for a second before you offer something. Because it's just so ingrained in us. It's so natural to want to speak just as soon as that other person is finished. I know for me, still, my husband will have to say, "Babe, I'm not done." Because if he takes a breath, I'm jumping right in. I have to practice this all the time because I think I know more. So, practice listening, practice breathing, and look within when someone comes to you that you think that you need to have a confrontation with and you back away. Look within. Send me your questions. If you need help with it, I would love to help you dig with this. Happy weekend, everyone.